Welcome back to another segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons. I'm taking up more of your questions in another segment of Ask Judy. This question comment is from David G., who said, today on the episode The Journal, I noticed Rose walks into the living room and tells Elizabeth last call for biscuits. But then you see the scene where all the Walton children are eating breakfast and there isn't a biscuit in sight. Everyone in the scene was buttering toast. I thought it was funny and could not believe I caught it. So I looked back at the episode, The Journal, and unless I missed some subsequent scene, here at the beginning of the episode, Elizabeth is doing some knitting or crocheting or something, and Rose walks in and she says, last call for breakfast. So give a listen. I'm pretty sure that's what she says there.
Last call for breakfast.
So I think perhaps you just misheard it or something. Or as I said, I kind of skimmed through the episode and I didn't see another subsequent scene where she said something or there was another breakfast scene. But good. I appreciate you looking and thinking that's what was going on. And thanks for bringing it to my attention. It was worth looking into. And you also said you're a fan of the Waltons, dating back to actually watching on Thursday night in the 70s from the Homecoming movie. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. Love your YouTube channel and will forever love the Waltons. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you very much, David. This is from Trudy Reed, who said, sorry to go off topic, but I've been thinking that doing a segment on Olivia's spicy moments when she was assertive in correcting someone for their brutish behavior. That's an interesting idea. You gave a few examples here. In The Violated, in which Olivia convinces a cowardly little man that he needs to leave her and other women alone.
You turn around and start walking. And don't you ever come back here again. You think you're a big man, but you and I both know what you are.
And later, John throws him down and tells him to leave the mountain. I just focused here on Olivia standing up to him, and good for her. And then another example is when in the spoilers, Olivia corrects the spoiled daughter for the way the daughter was speaking to Olivia. It's one of my personal favorites and lines I've uttered in real life. So here we see Olivia putting the young girl sort of politely but firmly in her place.
La-di-da.
Alicia, you may get away with talking to your mother like that, but don't you try that on me.
And then one last example in the Odyssey in which Olivia reprimands the parents of the young couple to abandon their poor parenting.
If thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out.
Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. She's your only child, Marjorie.
Also, like you, I loved when Michael had those opportunities to show various different sides of Olivia, because Olivia was always so compassionate with people, but she was very firm about certain things, and she did have a temper, and she certainly could get in a tiff with someone or get miffed about something else that went on. So it was fun to get to see these various different types of circumstances for Olivia over the seasons. This one I'm going to ask for a little help from all of you out there. This is from MS Rose, and she's asking to all the seamstresses out there that sew and make dresses, please look at the dress Marcia Woolery is wearing in the classroom standing across from John Boy. I'm not sure what episode this is. So first of all, if anybody can point out what episode this might be, then we can sort of take a look and see what this fabric might have been. It is a blue dress trimmed in white. It is a silky, shiny kind of material the dress is made of. Also, please, Judy, ask people who sew the name of the material. Okay, so does anybody know which episode this is and what this material might be? And I'll take a look too if I can figure out what episode it is. This next is from Wade Arcade. This is about the raspberry cake I made, who said, very tempting raspberry cake. I suppose one might consider putting the raspberry filling through a strainer at least once before refrigeration to minimize the tiny seeds, but it still was a great deal of work. Yeah, that's a good point. You could if you felt that the seeds were going to be more than you wanted to deal with. I don't recall Olivia having an automatic mixer in her kitchen despite having to constantly cook for 11 and make all those cakes for fairs and other celebrations. So I'd imagine that Olivia would have had to have hand mixed each new ingredient with a paddle, which would have been even more labor intensive than via your state-of-the-art mixer. Oh, well, I guess we can imagine that the Baldwin sisters' recipe might have somehow tasted like Chambord liqueur and was also a key ingredient in one of Grandma's confections, which she swore Elizabeth to secrecy over. Very true. And yeah, I actually ended up getting this mixer in order to do this recipe because I looked at how labor intensive it was and thought, my arm will be dying. I feel that way every time I make chocolate chip cookies. As you add more and more ingredients and the batter gets thicker and harder to blend. So I kind of went, it's time. And I remember when I was making, I think, Olivia's applesauce cake for the channel here, that a number of people said, why aren't you using an electric mixer? And I went, because I don't have one. So I thought it was something missing in my kitchen of equipment. And who knows? Now that I have it, I might have to make this recipe or find some other recipes where I can make use of that wonderful new stand-up mixer. He also goes on to say that sure was a great deal of work and you didn't have to contend with having to make 3 meals a day for 11 while making it. No kidding. Much less not having sneaky kids and Grandma trying to eat filling, cake batter, etc. before having a chance to serve the final intact cake. Thanks for all this and good luck with you and your Sibs cookbook. We are getting closer to the cookbook being done. We have most of the recipes. We are working on gathering together photos and quotes and things. We just had a fun little Zoom recently, all of us who are involved in the cookbook, just to look over some of the photos, the behind the scenes photos that we're using from over the years of the Waltons, and so many wonderful memories. And so you'll get to see some of those as well when the cookbook is ready. So more on that soon. This from Just Hacking Around, who said, I have a request for a future video. If the idea sounds interesting to you, I would very much like to know how it is for you to watch the Waltons, given all of your experience actually being on the show. What do you think about? Are you able to fully immerse yourself in the episode, or do the memories of actually filming the episode distract you in any way from that? Oh, it's really a mixed bag. That's such a fascinating question because I can kind of do both. Obviously, when I am doing these segments for the channel and I look back at an episode, I'm at that point digging into the episode a bit more. I'm looking for things that catch my attention, but I'm looking for them. I am not just sitting back and watching as an audience. I'm looking for what memories it brings up and where were we filming, and looking for those types of questions that I can look into that I think might be interesting to you, as well as my own just thoughts about the episode and a bit of a summary for it. But I can also just sit back and watch and enjoy and appreciate how well written it is, how well acted it is, directed, how the sets were, the costumes, how it all came together, and just how it makes me feel just as an audience to watch the episodes and the stories and watching it. I want to be part of that family. I mean, like in that time period, in the way that the family was. See, I also, yes, remember the dynamics of the real people and the set. And I can, if I want to, I can go, oh yeah, the camera would have been here and this wall would have been out and we would have been sitting around and how many takes, and that was probably really hot out, or that was really cold out, or there we are in the water, or oh gosh, I remember I was uncomfortable filming that scene, or oh, what fun we had doing this. So those types of things, yes, those can come back to me as well, but I never find it distracting. The only time I'm distracted is if I'm watching something like that I'm doing in a scene that, if perhaps I know I was uncomfortable with the scene in the first place, or the storyline, or that I didn't feel it fit the character, or things like that, I'll sometimes look at and it'll catch my attention, or if I didn't like the way I looked, or some expression I made, or just something odd like that. Those things will distract me, but it's usually just about me as an actor picking apart my work because I'm super critical of it and always looking for what I can do to make a character more believable but that's just me watching it. So that doesn't mean that the audience is watching it obviously in the same way, because you have no idea what I was thinking while I was filming. So it is a different sort of experience for me than when I sit and watch some other show. But I can also watch some other show and things will stick out to me. And I'll go, well, that's kind of odd, or what happened there, or I didn't quite believe that, or that how odd that the director is choosing that camera. And what is the camera doing there and why? That made no sense. So I can be distracted by things like that as well in other shows. So a part of me, I guess, I can switch that on and off. I can just be an audience and thoroughly enjoy it and not be the least bit picky about it. Or I can choose to watch it as someone who knows more and study it and go, well, oh, that's interesting. How did they do that? Or oh, why did they do that? So all those things. And it both can be fun for me at times. So I hope that helps. Thank you for joining me for this segment of Ask Judy. I'll be back with more behind the scenes of the Waltons, more of your questions in an Ask Judy. And I think I have some special guests coming up. Thanks for watching.